All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a story that starts with just one man leaving his home, but somehow ends up shaping the history and faith of literally billions of people. We're talking about the call of Abraham, a moment that completely flips the script on the entire biblical narrative. So, for the first 11 chapters, the book of Genesis is this sweeping, epic story. You've got creation, the flood, the Tower of Babel. It's huge. Then, all of a sudden, the camera just zooms way in. The story stops talking about all of humanity and focuses intensely on one guy and his family. The big question is, why? Why the sudden shift? You can really see the difference here. The first part of Genesis is just a sprint through universal history, the origins of the world, all its peoples. But then you hit chapter 12 and the narrative slams on the brakes. We go from this super wide-angle view to a slow, detailed, personal focus on one family story, Abraham, his son Isaac, and his grandson Jacob. Now, this sharp turn isn't random at all. The story has just spent all this time describing a world that's fractured, full of brokenness and curses. So Abraham's story, it's presented as the remedy, the beginning of a very specific long-term plan to heal that broken world. And it all kicks off with this really direct and, let's be honest, incredibly demanding command. A man named Abram is told to just leave everything he knows, his country, his people, his entire family's support system, and just go. This isn't just about moving. It's the first step in a plan that's going to unfold over generations. At the very heart of this call is this powerful three-part promise. And really, this promise drives the rest of the entire biblical story. First, God promises a specific land. Second, countless offspring. And third, a blessing so huge it would eventually reach the entire world. Land, offspring, and blessing. Remember those three, because they're woven into everything that comes next. But there's a huge, immediate problem. A single word that sets up this central conflict for this whole story. Barren. Abraham's wife can't have children. I mean, just think about that for a second. The promise of a great nation and countless descendants was given to an old man whose wife, Sarai, was barren. This is the core conflict, right? You've got this divine promise colliding head-on with human impossibility. It makes Abraham's journey a test of faith from the very first step. So Abraham's journey isn't some straight line to success, not at all. His life is shown as more of a school of training in faith, full of ups and downs, successes, and some pretty big failures. It's through this messy process that he learns to trust God, not just in theory, but through actual lived experience. And this is so key to how the story frames faith. It's not a blind leap in the dark. It's defined as confidence, a confidence that's built through experience, through learning that the one who made the promise is trustworthy, even when the circumstances look completely impossible. Okay, so this whole training and faith idea, it's framed by two really dramatic bookends. To get the full scope of his journey, we have to look at how it begins and then how it climaxes. The first bookend is that command we've already seen. Abraham is called to leave everything that is familiar and secure, his culture, his relatives, his entire support system. Just walk away from it all. In essence, God asked for his past. He had to give up the security of his home, the comfort of his family, and any inheritance he might have been expecting. He had to put his trust completely in God's promise for the future. Then, years later, we're talking decades later, we get to the second bookend. After all that waiting, Abraham and Sarah miraculously have their son, Isaac. And it's right here that Abraham faces the most gut-wrenching command you can possibly imagine. So, after asking for his past, now God asked for his future. He was commanded to sacrifice the very child, the one son through whom all the promises, the land, the nation, the global blessing, were supposed to come true. This was it, the ultimate test. The question hanging over this whole insane moment is, was Abraham's faith in the gifts he was promised, or was it in the giver of those gifts? Would he trust the giver, even if it meant giving up the gift itself? But wait, there's another layer to this story that's pretty amazing. The author uses this subtle numerical pattern to show how this new beginning is designed to reverse everything that came before it. And the key number here is 5. So check this out. In the first 11 chapters of Genesis, there are exactly 5 major curses mentioned. Now you look at the call of Abraham and the word bless or blessing appears exactly 5 times. This is no coincidence. It's a deliberate literary move. The fivefold blessing is designed as a direct answer, a direct counterpunch to the fivefold curse that came before. So the crucial takeaway here is that this isn't just one man's personal story. The call of Abraham is framed as the beginning of a master plan to reverse the curse, to heal creation, and to bring blessing back to all the nations of the earth. It all started with one man's journey of faith, trusting a promise that seemed totally impossible. And yet, that single journey set in motion a story of blessing that still shapes the identity and hope of billions of people today. It kind of leaves us with a question, right? In a world that often feels pretty broken, how does this ancient promise of a remedy still echo?